I'm not the see comment. What do you think? 169 they follow me.
From Facebook.
43 comment, 53 share. What do you think?
I'll check this comment information.
Huh?
Check here now.
Make a click it.
Let me see.
Which one will this one? Huh?
It's supposed to show.
Then Yoruba and the Arewas and many other people call us Nigeria, their area. Oh Nigeria, grow with different culture, religion, different beliefs, yeah, difference in nature and tradition. Different language, rather than in everything. And outside in 99, nothing's always this together. The midst of confusion, spreading us as well and water, that can never miss. After the carbons. Detective, go check on that. Yo, go check on it. Glonian external, marginalization of the Biafrans. Now is the time to be restored. Now is the time to be restored. Great Biafrans be restored. I want freedom for my people. Freedom for Biafra. Wayo Biafra. Land of the rising sun. Biafra. My home, my father's land. Yes, once again, fellow Biafrans, lovers of freedom, men and women of goodwill, conscious people wherever you are all over the world. I say good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and to some of you, good night, depending on your time zone. Of course, this is Radio Biafra Extra, and we are streaming live to Radio Biafra London. Radio Biafra London is being anchored by the deputy leader of the indigenous people of Biafra. His name is Mazi Uche Ukafo Mefo. He is from Abatete. Abatete is in Anambra State, and of course, Anambra State is in Biafra land. Mazi Uche Ukafo Mefo is the man who has simply assured us that he will not allow the heart of this project to see corruption. This is one word I keep saying. I do not expect everyone to understand the mindset behind those words, but one day you shall. Mazi Uche Ukafo Mefo, of course, is standing in a deputizing capacity on behalf of our supreme leader, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. He is the king of Afali Beku. Afali Beku is in Umuahia. Umuahia is in Abia State, and Abia State is Biafra land. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu remained the one and the only man who stood up to speak for the collective interest of the Biafran people for over 6 decades. And of course, he is the director of Radio Biafra, Biafra Television, as well as the leader of IPOB. And by the special grace of Chukwuka Gabiama, I am George Onyibe, George Unyema Onyibe. And of course, I come from Abo. Abo is in Delta State, and Delta State is Biafra land. Every piece of land in Delta State. And of course, as always, our custom and tradition is here on Radio Biafra Extra. We acknowledge the Creator. And so I will humble myself before Him this evening and give Him all the glory and honor. You are the Alpha and Omega. We worship you alone. You are worthy to be praised. You are the Alpha and Omega. We worship you, Lord. You are worthy to be praised. We give you glory. We give you all the glory. Yes, my Lord. We worship you alone. You are worthy to be praised. Anyị na-aja gị mma o, maka na eziokwu na ịmara mma ya, ịhụnanya na ịna gị, obiọma gị o juru anya dadi o, enweghị mgbanwe o, ọ dịghị onye dịka gị, ịbụ Alfa na Omega. Anyị niile na-asị na ịdị mma o. Ọkwa gị bụ echeta obi sike o, ọkwa gị bụ ike anyị ji agaga o, ọkwa gị kewara osimiri niile, imekwa ọnwa anya ga ka ọ tụrụ ime, ọkwa gị yo Chineke, igbu oke mmiri na-ebu ogwe, ọkwa gị yo Chineke mma, na-egbochi m, na-egbochi m, na-egbochi m, na-egbochi m, egbochi anya anyị ji ahụ ụzọ, agada gbajiri ụzọ nwoke obiọma, olileanya nke ndị Biafra o, anyị na-erere ọkụ na anyị na-agbara ọkụ, ọ gịnị ka ga-eji toro oge ye gị nna, a ga na-akpụ isi ala ye gị nna m o, na-egbochi Chukwu na-ịdị mma o, Jehova na-ịdị mma, olileanya ndị nsọ na-ịdị mma, ọma Kraịst bi ụwale na-ịdị mma, ezi Chineke m narị ekele o, mgbe niile anya n'elu ụwa mee, narị ekele o, mgbe niile. Ịmakwa na asị na niile eme mma o, ezi masị na niile na-agwọ ọrịa o, dadi masị na niile nye ike o, mgbe bịara ọ bụrụ eziokwu, Chukwu dị mma, n'ịdị mma, agbanwe n'ịdị mma, olileanya ndị nsọ n'ịdị mma, Chimo onyenwe anyị n'ịdị mma. Ise. And of course, we don't pray to God, we make requests. We pray for other people. Where I come from, we don't pray to God, we make requests, we give in supplication. And of course, this is not a church service anyway, for those of you who are joining us now. As always, without wasting much of our time, we'll go to our topic this evening, which is simply titled The Consequence of Our Action in the Restoration Project, the Biafra Restoration Project. The consequence of our action in this Biafra Restoration Project. And of course, it will not be fair if I continue without first apologizing. For some time I've not been on air. Believe me, these are issues beyond me. Of course, it's financial issue, and I will use this privilege to thank the Dr. O who made it possible for me to come back this evening. I do not want to call all your name, but of course, you have been part of the people sponsoring Radio Biafra. And of course, I cannot leave out Mazi Ezi. I won't complete it. Mazi Ezi and the other people who have been helping him to sponsor this Radio Biafra. Honestly, of course, I'm happy that our deputy is aware of everything. And of course, would I say Dr. Don O. Of course, there are other people with Dr. Don O who make sure I'm on air every day. And of course, one will not be able to say much when there are numerous wonderful Biafran people who make sure that Odabemezi Adaluale. What will I say? I just say thank you, of course. Like I said, this is another segment. This segment, our topic is simply titled The Consequence of Our Actions in this Biafra Restoration Project. And of course, at the same time, I will make it known to all of us that my official time of broadcast is 5 a.m. in the morning. And anytime you see me on air in the evening like this, understand that I'm just there. After this evening broadcast, you will see me in my official time. But of course, there are other wonderful Biafrans who will come and help fill the gap because the journey has just begun. That is just by the way. Because I do not want to present myself as inefficient in any area I am called to serve in this struggle. That having been said, we must continue this evening to go to our topic as always, and it is important every one of us understand what we are here to do. A lot of us has been distracted, I should say, and as such, all of us must be guided. In life, there are consequences to every action we take. The consequence could be good, the consequence could be bad. What makes a man, what makes a woman is simple. The ability to stand and face the consequence of your actions. It could either remain as the undoing of your enemy, or it remains the very foundational stone that will push you to the very height you desire in life. And with this mindset, every Biafran across the globe who are listening to the sound of my voice should understand the implication of what we are doing here. To some, it's a vocational, should I say, study. You are learning, it's okay. You need to learn. To some, it's business. And so we can do blogger, we can do whatever we like. I do not stand to condemn you tonight. To some, it's a way of gaining fame and popularity. And you have it. To some, it's just to sabotage every other person. And they're succeeding. To some, they are mere spectators. Let's just be watching. But in as much as everybody has their own plan, the position of the Biafran people cannot be negotiated. I am a Biafran. And if you are a Biafran, it is important we put our mind down and understand that in every of our action on this journey, on this quest to restore Biafra, there are consequences. There is nothing that gives me greater joy to remember that people like Dame Chukwuemeka or Dimegu Ojukwu, they fought vigorously, they fought righteously, they fought religiously, they fought with the last breath that they have. And finally, they laid down the battle for all of us. There is no greater testimony than the words of Philip Effiong. And on that very day, when he handed over the sovereignty of the Biafra nation to the Nigerian state there in Lagos, he said, be very careful that what you have done to us, you do not do it to our children who will come after us. Because when you do that, they will rise up. And today, we have risen. We have risen. And believe me, we will not go down. And so, those of us who march today gloriously, vigorously, with determination to ensure Biafra is restored, we could come out when our leader made the call, because those who have gone before us did not give us any reason to bring down our face in shame. May I remind us tonight that General Philip Effiong died as almost a mere poor man. When Nigerian state confronted him, approached him to give him contract, he said to them, I am a general. I was not defeated in war, and I take no contract from Nigeria. Before he died, his community in Akwa Ibom, erosion has washed off the road. You can't drive to his house. He stood his ground, like every other wonderful Biafran men and women, until his dying breath. We will see him one day. But let those who are alive today draw strength from these gallant men and women who without a shred of fear faced the bloodied men, the monsters. But they had only one hope and dream, one aspiration, that no matter where they lie, that Biafra might be restored. And today here we are, confronted even with worse challenges we know nothing about. Worse challenges, very complicated, I must tell you. But we will navigate through all of them, and we will emerge victorious in the end. Our sister in 1976, one of our sisters among millions of them, he said, we will surely emerge as a nation. We will surely emerge as a nation. We are fighting a just cause. And as far as there is one Biafran man or woman still standing, we will emerge as a nation. Today, here we are. I will say it is a privilege. And we have decided to do the same path they have come through. They came from. And like every of them that have gone before us, some of them are now spectators. It is important for them to understand the consequence of their action. When we talk about consequence, I will cite some examples that will make us understand what we are doing. As a child, my father wanted me to go to school, to the highest level that I can approach. I have said it before in some of my numerous broadcasts. From primary 1 to SS1 in secondary school, then it was called class 1 in secondary school, I don't think I knew what I wrote. Even up to SS2, I don't think I could, aside spelling my name, I don't think I knew any other thing. But I would say from GS3, or rather SS1, till I left the level I got to, we are the people they used to, they tell people, don't follow that boy, you will fail. People don't see me read, but I don't sleep. I say, you are following George, that means you are ready to fail. Because when others are sleeping, we are walking. We are reading. I do not say this to sell personality, because there is nothing to sell. But I say this to make you understand. I made a choice. My father said, this privilege, you will never have it in life again. Make proper use of it. I tried to study. It was not easy. It's left for me to give up on it, or than better still, give it all that I have, that I can be who I am today. He told me the consequence of me not studying at this stage is that I will never have that opportunity again. He said to me, my son, you have to go through school. Don't let school go through you. I fought very hard. It was not easy. My father don't bother to look my results, because when I come home, even as the first son, they say, you carry first, when they turn the result upside down. Because maybe I'm 44 out of 44, or 45 out of 46. They used to beat me, but they left me. I knew I was going to face the consequence of my action. I started coaching myself. Mathematics was one of my worst subjects. It's a nightmare. I have to buy chewing stick. I have to buy kola nut. I have to chew more than 20 seeds of kola nut every night to ensure I did not sleep. I remember when I was going through economics in the University of Port Harcourt. For almost 3 years, I would say I did not sleep. Because I know the consequence of my action. But then I give glory to God. I have no regret whatsoever in my life. I knew that destiny has drawn me to where I am. And each day I look back towards those moments of failure, those moments I struggled, those moments I thought all hope is lost, I still have reason to give God the glory. Why? Because I made the best use of the opportunity I have, and I'm ready for the consequence. The same thing is applicable to some of my family members who, at the end of the day, they said to my parents, I cannot go to school. In those days when parents understand, I cannot go to school. I remember one of my cousins, he pleaded with my parents. He said, please, I can't go to school. I don't understand what they are doing. They told him the consequence of his decision. He was willing to live by it, though they tried to force him. He ended up taking goof. And they discovered, my parents discovered, that if they forced him to go to school, he may not be good. And they said, what are you going to learn? He said, panebita. My parents was very sure that they make him understand there is a consequence to his decision. He was willing to live with it. But may I announce to you today that he's one of the most prosperous person in my family today. He's a panebita. And I know what he worth today. I don't even near him. Today he lives with the consequence of his decision. But I'm not telling you that if you don't know book, you should go quickly and go and learn panebita or mechanic, because you may regret it. And that is the purpose, the essence of tonight's struggle. Because we are involved in a struggle. I think many people don't even know what we are doing. Honestly, we derail gradually without us knowing. And so tonight, like I said, Biafrans across the globe, it is time for us to begin to consider the consequence of our action in this Biafra restoration project. Let us compare the consequence to this restoration project. You see, people don't understand what we are up against. Our leader in one of his broadcasts made it clear that the only reason Nigerian army was set up is to kill those who will agitate for the division of Nigeria. Nothing more. They were not set up to fight a war. They were not set up. No, there is no reason whatsoever. And so when you as a Nigerian see a Nigerian military security apparatus out there, their only assignment, their only duty, the fundamental purpose they exist is to make sure nobody say they fight Nigeria. And when you say they fight Nigeria, they will give you hair. But I tell you, if they will give us hair, we make them understand we have been there. And then if you are fighting to divide a country, which hair will let loose if you try to divide it, brother, sisters, you should be ready for the consequence. And this we know already. Every security apparatus in Nigeria have one last command. Nobody divide Nigeria. It is our Nigeria, our innegotiable one Nigeria, our one Nigeria, one Nigeria, our one Nigeria. If the president of Nigeria had the privilege of going to America today, and Donald Trump, for instance, say, yes, who are you? He say, yes, it's our one Nigeria, and the president of one Nigeria. If our senators have to go for any diplomatic assignment, if you ask them to introduce themselves, they first of all tell you, yes, I'm from one Nigeria. You begin to ask yourself question, why that one? Why the emphasis of one Nigeria, everybody one Nigeria, prophet one, but we understand. Of course, I have to create the scenario to enable you to understand what we are against and the consequence behind our action. Before, when I joined IPOB at the initial stage, my very close friend, I should say my best friend here in this world, he's a Kwere man anyway. He said to me, this thing you are doing, the government will come for you. And you say, you know the amazing thing about the government? They know how to get you. They just throw chain on you and they allow you to begin to go. And honestly, I believe it. But I made my choice. I did make my choice. I know the consequence. But I know the truth. and I'm willing to embrace the consequence. And I say to Nigerians and her leaders, I'm not a terrorist, and certainly IPOB is not a terrorist. I am exercising my right to self-determination, and honestly, it is my right to civil disobedience. At the right time, we will soar on the wings of civil disobedience. We will help you to initiate the state of anarchy, which will certainly send Nigeria to oblivion. Honestly, we have the right to do this. This is the only way we have to register our displeasure, and so the Nigerian state will understand that you have to call this thing called Nigeria off. Honestly, I told my friend I know the consequence. What are the consequences of our actions? I witnessed Mosul. I witnessed other freedom fighting groups. People died. I felt their pain. I put myself in their position. And of course, if I would use Ken Saro-Wiwa tonight to draw example for all of us, he fought for the Bill of Rights. May I remind you that more than 50% of people who fought side by side with Ken Saro-Wiwa, who escaped death in the hand of the Nigerian state, most of them are foreigners, or should I say fugitives, in Cameroon, in Benin Republic, in Ghana, and they will never come back again. Nigeria has placed a tag on them. If you see them around Ogoni land, report to us. They know they can't come back. But I believe that somewhere along the line, every wrong will be made right, and they will return home again. Many people died who stood side by side with Ojukwu. Some lived with regret till they died. That is because they didn't check the consequence of their action. Mozobo was Rike among others. Brothers and sisters betrayed themselves. The pressure became too strong for them. They feel we must compromise, and then they did what they did. No regrets. And so when I joined IPOB, like the Bible says, you need to cost what it takes to build a house, or else people will mock you. I did my costing. I understand I may be a fugitive for the rest of my life, but you know, it will be a glorious night. That day when I close my eye in death, it really doesn't matter how I'm going to die, but I want to die knowing that I serve IPOB. I serve Biafra in truth, in honesty, in purity, in sincerity. And then when I get to heaven, and God say, where are you coming from? And I will say to him, on the last day, only true Biafrans will be raptured. With the congregations of the saints of God, among them I will sing this song. And on the last day, only true Biafrans will be raptured. I will sing songs to the Creator, and I will tell him, if I have 100 times over to go back to this earth, I will do the same thing over and over, because our dictators know that our hands are clean. And honestly, they know. Everybody trying to keep one Nigeria know they are wrong. And whatever they choose to do, believe me, I, George Onyibe, and millions of other Biafrans scattered across the globe understand that we will not compromise. We will not negotiate. Because in the end, these are pure breed. Untainted Biafran breed. You will not understand it. There is a city far away without a city wall. There millions of Biafrans were slain and crucified because we asked for our freedom. Who died? Who died? Who died? Who died? Who died? Who died? He died to save us all. In 100 lifetimes, I will be a Biafran. Have that at the back of your mind. We know the consequence. And so when we see Nigeria, for instance, I kill you, I shoot you, I terrorize, Nigeria, we know the consequence of it all. But we understand that in the end, we will be proven right. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter how you come out. Oh, we would have bought so no, I joke, you say, no, you walk to know, we say, you won't understand, and certainly I don't want you to understand. The consequence is unimaginable. I stand between 5 brothers, all with bullet wound. That I don't have bullet wound, it's not because I'm smart. Believe me, I'm a dummy. I don't have sense. But God shielded me. And why he let those brothers go, I don't know. Every day as we march, I see brothers and sisters fall. But of course, the night is our domain. And the shadow is our ally. But we will fight to the end. And humanity will bear witness that we were here. We are Biafrans, you won't understand. And I see them, they bleed to death. Some of them have children who are orphans, wives who are widows, mothers and fathers without their sons and daughters to comfort them, which I've in pain. But you become our source of inspiration and strength. I mean, you who know the consequence of the sacrifice we make on a daily basis. If IPOB, for instance, fail, if we led them to silence us, if Biafra will lead them to silence us, one of the consequences is that in 100 years, nobody will mention Biafra. Are you willing to let that happen? It was almost 50 years Nigeria banned us from mentioning Biafra. Almost 50 years. And that is the regard I have for Mazen and the Kano. Almost 50 years. If you mention, you dare not whisper it. That word Biafra could only be whispered. And then it vanishes into the air. Until he came. I don't lie, I don't thief. If anybody tells you I lie, I thief, the person is a 419. Bring that matter for me, I will disgrace that person. They are idiots everywhere. Almost 50 years. The word Biafra could always be whispered, very fragile, and it is gone the moment you do that. Until he came. Look at all of us now. Biafra, 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 everywhere Biafra, bloggers, Biafra, saboteur, Biafra, 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 and Biafra. Nonsense. I'm trying to be. How did they use the English? Let's leave the English alone anyway. And Nigerians never believed we will go this far. They never believed. In their mind, they ignored them. They called us different names. They're still calling us name, honestly. But I won't forget when there was an event I was invited. I was actually invited to be honored. And I never thought I would make it that far. I don't want to mention the event. But when they called me up and said, what do you have to tell your audience? I took the mic and I sang this song. They say, out there, they'll never make it. Look at where we've come to now. We're still together and going strong. You're still the one I love. Oh, the only one I love. Oh, they say Biafrans, they will never make it. Look at where we've gone to now. Let me repeat it again. Nigeria said Biafrans, they will never make it. Look at where we've gone to now. We're still together and going strong. Biafra is all we want. Ooh, the only thing we want. Hey, you won't understand. You won't. We understand the consequence. They never know we will make it this far. Believe me. We're not going anywhere. We will shake heaven and earth until our request is granted. Don't mind them. They are inconsequential. Do not underestimate anybody. Do not undermine anybody. If we fail to restore Biafra, they will make sure that even in 200 years, that name Biafra, nobody will talk about it. You don't understand the consequence of our action. We know, but we don't give a hoot. We don't give a damn. And that is why every day we have positioned ourselves. Anyhow, anybody want them, go get them. Obumbo scatter ya some no. Mewin abundant. Obumbo scatter ya kenjanyishi. You will understand we are ordained for these days. If we fail in this quest, Nigerian state, and I don't want to mention name before I break law. If not, I would have told you the people that will deal with us. But let's leave it at that. The Nigerian state will make sure that even in 200 years, they will recondition us by every means necessary possible. That nobody say, Biafra. People bled. People sweat. People died. And so anytime you handle a mic or your Facebook Android phone, you are shouting Biafra, 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 you are ready to even fight me. If I give you thunder, you will not survive. Because you don't know the price you pay to get here. You will know one day. If we fail, some of us are on the run. Some of us, our life can never be the same again. We pay sacrifice unimaginable every day. We put our blood in this thing. But we don't regret every one of them. But there is a consequence if we fail. And that is why no idiot will make us fail. I have no regret in fighting for Biafra. I have no regret in joining IPOB, because we are here to fight for the restoration of the sovereign state of Biafra. We will make the impossible to be possible. We will make the impossible to become possible. The consequence is high. They are taking record of us. They are monitoring us. And then there can be no shadow of turning back within us. And of course, that is some of the consequence of our actions. I'm giving Biafra restoration as a site of the consequence. Nigeria will come for all of us one after the other. Not because we've committed any crime. They will set example with our memories. And so the next generation should not do what we have done. What they did to Ken Saro-Wiwa was to hang him. After hanging him, they went somewhere in Port Harcourt prison. Only them know. They buried him there. They poured acid in his body and allow it to decompose. Their target or mission was simple. They taught him lesson in life and in death. They present him to others to learn from his experience. And so that generation after generation, if any Ogoni's son will rise up tomorrow to fight for their rights, they know what awaits them. They will do worse to us. But I tell them tonight, our heart is ready for all of you. That is the difference. And so I extend this vibration to the next generation of Biafrans. Do not make any mistake. Do not panic. Do not be dismayed, and don't compromise. We pray to the Almighty Creator that in the end we lay Biafra before that foot. But if we fail, if that is an option to consider, you shall not stop. I command you this day, you must continue. But believe me, the first sledge of a hammer unleashed on a wall, a concrete wall, made its impact until the last sledgehammer that will bring that wall down. Every one of them made their impact. Play your role. We are playing ours. Your time will come. Understand, Biafra is the light. Biafra is the hope of humanity. Even those who are trying to stop Biafra restoration, they don't know what they do. And I ask God to forgive them. And so, having considered the three consequences of this decision, from not going to school, from working very hard as an apprentice, a workmanship, and at the same time with what we are doing here in IPUB, we'll see the consequence. There are consequences for our diligence. If we are diligent, the consequence of being diligent in Biafra restoration project is that at the end of the day, Biafra will be restored. In Biafra land, we will fight ourselves very well. This reminds me about the Spartans, the Grecians, the Persians. If you come into the floor of their Senate, they fight themselves. They debate about constitutional amendment, they debate about how they are governed, they debate about virtually everything. They do not fight because they are barbarian. They fight that the superiority argument will lead the day. They fight to create a floor that will enable everybody to emerge as the leader with a more superior argument when they have debate. They fight honestly. They look like barbarians, but they are the most civilized that has walked on the face of this universe. I believe and I know Biafra will be great, because no idiot will see anyhow. You see, people don't know what they ask for. When the disciples of Jesus said to him, James and John, we want to ask you of a favor, Jesus. And Jesus said, what's the favor? Because their mother was sponsoring Jesus' ministry. And they said to Jesus, please, we ask of you that when we get to heaven, I want to be in your right hand, and then my brother should be in your left hand, and probably my mother should sit behind you. And Jesus said, you don't know what you are asking for. I see people give order. When Biafra come, we do this, thunder will fire you that day. The restoration of Biafra is the beginning of a war the world have never seen. When Biafra come, I shoot you, I kill you, I thunder you. Who are you? Are you an idiot? You will leave your village and come to my village to tell me what you do. You are hallucinating. Only those who come with clean hands will make the difference and make the wrong right. So anytime you're saying, I kill you, in general overseer. In my village, if you know what is waiting for you in my village, by now you should be ashamed of yourself. Thunder will fire you. You think we are coming after experiencing Nigeria? We are cooking the heart of our children. We are cooking it already. And whatever we are will be a child's play to compare to what they are. With the teasing, with the joke. We will tie our children for ceiling fan, on the ceiling fan. Turn them well, bring them down. Because you never know. One lunatic that will come out from somewhere and tell you nonsense. Our heart is ready. Our heart is ready. Our heart is ready. Chineke anyị dị mma o, Chineke anyị dị mma, itu ọbụ n'idowe ihe ule ya o, Chineke anyị mara mma o, onye anyị na-efe mara mma o, n'ụtụtụ n'abalị n'efifie o, onye anyị na-efe mara mma o. Ise. You won't understand, and I don't want you to understand. Biafra will be a holy land. We've seen it in the spirit. And that is why we are ready to risk life itself. You won't understand. It's not going to be easy. We will get there. Stand put and don't go anywhere. Stand put. I say, don't go anywhere. We go nowhere. We die here. We die here. You won't understand. Waya ni Biafra wanting to ge I may yaka China waya ni Biafra wanting to ge waya ni Biafra wanting to ge I may yaka Japan waya ni Biafra wanting to ge isn't Nabiko na ye Nabiko waya ni Biafra wanting to ge. I don't want you to understand, just leave it like that. We know the consequence of our diligence. And so we made a vow with our eyes that we will not go to sleep. We made a vow with the heavens that we will not sleep under the same heaven with those who killed our mothers and our father. And we made a vow that we cannot be found sluggishly when it comes to the issue of Biafra. We made the vow, we will not understand. We took an oath to restore Biafra. Yes, if the only option they leave for us is to die, and then we will confront it with us a shred of fear. Who is that idiot who think he can terrorize us, intimidate us, harass us? Did you know the rock from which we are hewn? Did you understand that the rock from which we are hewn, you know nothing about it? And so, every Biafran, anywhere you are all over the world, I call upon you this evening. It's simple. Be determined. Be diligent. The Bible says, "See thou a man diligent in his work, he will stand before kings and queens." I never blackmailed anybody to get to the African rep in IPOB. In fact, our leader, Mazen Namdekano, want to promote me, but he don't know me. He felt that post cannot be handled by just anybody. I want to see that Judge Onyibe. He gave them money to invite me to Kuje prison. I went there. He looked at me, he laughed, he never said anything. With pride, I declared the issue of Biafra, and I challenge you till tomorrow morning. Come and tell me one bad thing I have done in IPOB. I will give you 100 things evil you have done that led to that one. You won't understand. What are we going to boast for? We are patriots of faith. From Moses to Joshua, from Joshua to Samson, to the judges, to Deborah, and among all the patriots of faith, there is none of them more dignified compared to Samuel. Samuel knew he has failed as a father, and someday he's going to die. He knew the high priest Eli has failed alongside with his children, and he couldn't leave Israel in the hand of the gullibles. But he did something very noble. He gathered the children of Israel in his last dying moment and said, "Today, I challenge all of you before the presence of God. If you know any wrong I have done, come out and do it and say it." Israel will dawn that day. Samuel. I want to be Samuel. Honestly. That is why when we say whiter than white, we don't see it as a slogan. We see it as a way of life. And we will prove our detractors and our enemy wrong. And so there is consequence for Biafrans to be diligent in this journey to restore Biafra. And at the same time, positive consequence, we also have negative consequence. What is the negative consequence? I have said it. They will never allow us to drink the water and drop the cup down. One because honestly, both of them are grievous, and then we just have to do what we have to do. Do not forget our topic is simple: the consequence of our actions in the Biafra Restoration Project. I just called upon Biafrans across the globe, wherever you are. When you think you are fighting Mazen Namdekano, consider who you are fighting. When you think you are fighting Uchimefo, consider who you are fighting. When you think you are fighting George Onyibe, consider who you are fighting. When you think you are fighting IPOB or any other group, consider the consequence of your action. Only one thing is at stake. And that thing that is at stake is Biafra. We came out here for Biafra. We want to make sure that Biafra is restored. And for any time we have left, we will make sure we do not betray Biafra. But let me remind you once again, Biafrans across the globe, enemies of Biafrans, whoever you are listening to the sound of my voice, because I understand with every degree of certainty that we are reaching the universe. We cannot be broken. Biafrans cannot be broken. I'll be back in a minute. Yes, of course, one or two technical issues, but at this moment our lines are open. Our WhatsApp line is 070-815-45642. 070 is our WhatsApp line, 070-815-45642. 070-815-45642 is our WhatsApp line. Our direct line is 081-221-52971. 081-221-52971 is our direct line. And then the special number then for the female is 081-2081. Sorry, I beg your pardon. 081-288-58614 is our special number for the female. Special number for the female for the last time is 081-288-58614, and we will continue from where we start. Of course, our lines are open. If you get the number I called, you're free to call in and make in your contribution. And I repeat again, WhatsApp line for the last time is 070-815-45642. And at this moment our lines are open. Do not forget our topic, which is simply titled The Consequence of Our Action in the Biafra Restoration Project. We cannot be broken. Yes, of course, caller on the line. Your name and where are you calling from? Caller on the line. Caller on the line. Are you there? Yes, I think I know that voice. Jane Mwachiku from Ebonyi State. Yes, you're welcome, Manda. You're welcome, Manda. What can we do? What can we do? I will come one to Radia, Mama. You know, come alliance. My sister, you're welcome. Go ahead, please. Of course, of course. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Adam, for your contribution this evening. And honestly, I notice there is an issue with my WhatsApp line. And so, those of you who are trying to call my WhatsApp line, I sincerely apologize. You may not be able to get the WhatsApp line. Meanwhile, I will still be working on it, but I will leave other lines open for you to call. You are free to call the women line. Everybody is free to call the women line tonight because I just noticed something is wrong with my WhatsApp line, and then I call back the female line, which is our female line is 081-288-58614. Our female line is 081-288-58614, and it is open for the general public, at least just this night, until I'm able to rectify the challenges I have in the WhatsApp line. And of course, the direct line is still open. The direct line, which is 070-815-45614. Biafrans are going, and we want to go home to our father's land, and there is no two ways about that. Of course, this is a live program. Do not forget about that. Yes, of course. Yes, of course, we are still working on the lines. Like I said, you are free to call the female line and the direct line. While we are working on others, then we will go by that. And I notice even the direct line is having issues. Keep calling and going. And I will say, while you're trying that, believe me, I'm not relenting. We are still working on the WhatsApp line. You can go to the female line while I fight the other demons who are right there on our other lines. It's just like that sometimes. Believe me. Believe me. Yes, a caller on the direct line. Can you hear me? Of course, I lose that caller. Still, caller on the direct line, are you there? Caller on the direct line, are you there? Yes, good evening, my brother. Your name and where are you calling from? Go ahead, my brother. Yes, you are on radio Biafra Extra, a very live broadcast. Go ahead. He say, thank you very much. And of course, we are inching closer to the end of this very segment. And believe me, I will not be coming back. We will continue from where we stop tomorrow. So one or two challenges I'm still battling with. Of course, you know how it works on the very first day. Biafrans across the globe must understand that there is need for us to stand put and begin to reconsider our position in this Biafra restoration project. That having been said, I will wind up from here, and may I remind you, the Tatrogs of Biafra, Hitters of Biafra, that the sacrifice of our fallen heroes will never be in vain. And of course, Biafra must be restored. It doesn't matter who is involved. It doesn't matter the people who are working hard and making sure they manipulate the system. It is Biafra or Biafra. You know, our slogan actually is Biafra or death. But believe me, we've gone past that stage. It is Biafra or Biafra. And of course, as I sign off from here, I say do have a pleasant night. And if I'm able to rectify the challenges I have here, I'll be up tomorrow morning by the grace of God. And like I said earlier, my official time of broadcast before now is 5 a.m. to 6:30 a.m. Biafran time. And of course, I am preparing a special package of Go Back to Your Roots. I will give you further information where you will meet me after now. As I sign off from here, I say goodbye and God be with you. If there is any Biafra soldier close to you, tell them that their sacrifice will not be in vain. Good night and God bless.